This is some of the soulful sensation, rhythmic royalty known as the Milky Way. I mean, I grew up in hip hop. You know, all of my older cousins was breakdancing and pop locking in North Carolina back in the day. It was always a part of my life. I was always hearing it on the radio. It wasn't even like a thing I considered as something I could do until like the early 90s. There was two things that hit me. It was De La Soul's 3 Feet High and Rising, and believe it or not, Tupacalypse Now. With Pac, you know, a lot of people cite him as a reference, but with me, it was like that first album, I was hearing a cat who was compassionate, and he was a poet. And I was like, yo, you know, it was different than all the other stuff I had heard before. You know what I'm saying? With 3 Feet High and Rising, it was like, yo, here's some cats like me. You know what I mean? It was like kind of off the beaten path, and they was doing something super creative and fun. And I was like, man, that's something like now I can get with this. You know what I'm saying? I could always relate, but at that point I was like, whoa, you know, this is something I can actually do. Back to 3 Feet High and Rising, they had an interlude on that album called De La Orgy. And I mean, I was a young kid, and my cousin, he was much younger than me. Like, he might have been 4, and not much younger, but, you know, a couple years younger. And we had been listening to that album nonstop all day. And we didn't know any better. His mom was about to take us out somewhere to like a birthday party or something. And we just like casually grabbed the tape and like popped it in his mom's whip, you know, just to continue the listening experience. And De La Orgy was the first thing that came on. And for those who don't know what that interlude is about, it's basically raucous, savage sex going on, you know, while these cats are yelling and screaming in the background. And, you know, we were like, whoa, you know, is his mom going to trip? And it's like, she didn't even notice, you know what I mean? But to us, it was like, oh man, you know, we're doing something that's, you know, clearly a little bit older and mature, you know, for our age. And we was getting an insight into like a whole nother side of humor that, you know, influenced us for the rest of our lives, you know? And that's when I was like, man, humor and music and hip hop is very important. You know, that's when it just became part of my DNA. You know, I'm almost obsessive about having my own style, you know, and about having my own approach to things. And, you know, from the way I dress to the way I carry myself on the track. So, you know, what you would hear with me is, you know, storytelling and poetry and compassion, but all with kind of like a warrior spirit, and it's very entertaining, you know. So it's, you know, it's something that's very uniquely me. You know, you're not gonna find, and I've been all around the country. Like my whole life I traveled. Me and my mother was nomads. So you're gonna hear a little bit of Southern style, you hear a little bit of East Coast, you hear a little bit of Midwest and a little bit of West Coast, all wrapped up in one into something that's uniquely distinct. I think probably the biggest challenge for me is getting people to understand my lane, because it is so particularly me, you know, and getting people to understand that even though it's different, it's very down to earth and it's very personable, you know, and it's something that, you know, you can understand regardless of what walk of life you come from, because I can relate to just about anybody, cats in the streets, cats who are college educated, you know, people from all over the world. And so, you know, the novice listener, when they listen to me, is kind of like, where is this cat coming from? And I've been able to overcome that over the years by mastering being, you know, relatable and talking many different slangs and languages to many different people all at once. I want to be remembered as somebody that inspired the children to do something different. You know, the same way that I was inspired, like, early on in life, to do and be your own person and not follow any trends, but still do something that's uplifting and but not preachy. You know, I want to be remembered as that guy that was known for making it cool to be intelligent and be super creative and original.